Level 1, the $14.99 course. You don't have a real career, but you have a YouTube video in front of you. You're 24 and 2 years into a job you've stopped pretending to care about. The YouTube video was titled, "I made $120,000 with no degree," and you watched it at 11 p.m. on a Tuesday, and something shifted. Not hope exactly, more like when you find out your favorite movie has a sequel. The guy in the video has a ring light and a home office and kept saying the word cloud like it was a place you could move to. He was talking smart, but looked like he'd play in the NCAA basketball. He had a degree in psychology, but he was a cloud support engineer at AWS. You don't have a computer science degree either. That's the part that stays with you. You Google AWS Cloud Practitioner, you read the certification page, you don't understand half the words. You read it again, you bookmark it, you close the tab. You open it again 3 days later, you buy the Udemy course on sale for $15, it was listed at $90. It is always on sale for $15, and you feel like you got the deal of a lifetime. The course is 14 hours long. You watch it at 1.5 times speed, because you read somewhere that's what serious learners do. You learn what the cloud is, you learn it's just someone else's computer. You feel slightly cheated and also like you understand something now. You schedule the AWS Certified Cloud Practitioner exam for $100, just enough to feel the financial pain. The number feels significant when you're not yet sure this path is real. You pay it anyway. You sit the exam. You pass. 796 out of 1,000. The passing score is 700. You update your LinkedIn before you close the testing tab. You wait. Level 2. The job applicant. A certificate did not get you a job. You understand this now. You have applied to 43 positions in 6 weeks. You have heard back from 4. 2 were recruiters asking if you were open to contract work in another state. 1 was a phishing attempt. 1 was a real phone screen that ended with them saying they needed someone with more hands-on experience. You don't have hands-on experience. That is why you are applying for entry-level positions. You do not say this out loud. You build a sandbox environment, a place to practice. You create an AWS free tier account and promptly spend $34 in your first month by leaving an EC2 instance running for 11 days because you didn't fully understand what an EC2 instance was. You are furious. You are also learning faster than you were before. You spend time on YouTube, Be a Better Dev, Tech with Lucy. You watch people build things, and then you build the same things, and then it doesn't work like the example. This is not glamorous. It looks nothing like the LinkedIn posts about cloud journeys. It's more like a person alone at a desk at 10 p.m. reading an error message for the 4th time. But you keep going anyway. You study, you practice, and eventually you pass the Solutions Architect Associate. Another exam fee, another passing score. You add it to LinkedIn, one small, long step forward. Then something different happens. A recruiter reaches out to you. Finally, not the other way around. They found your profile. They found the certifications, the projects you posted, the write-ups you'd been putting out for 3 months to an audience of 11 followers. They send you 4 roles and tell you to pick the one you feel most confident about. You pick networking. You do not know enough about networking. You will find this out during the assessment, which covers networking and Linux, and which you are certain you have failed. The recruiter calls 2 days later and says you did great. You begin to understand that your internal scoring system is miscalibrated. Level 3, the interview. The process has 2 parts. The technical round comes first. You prepare for 2 weeks. You know EC2, S3, Lambda, IAM, VPC. You know them well enough to talk about them, well enough to answer the questions they ask. You get through it. Then the pain comes. 4 interviews, back to back to back to back. 1 day, 1 hour each. 2 of them are technical. 2 of them are behavioral. The behavioral rounds are based on Amazon's leadership principles, which are public, which you've studied, which you prepared stories for using the STAR method at your kitchen table the night before while your dinner went cold. The interviewers are not trying to trick you. They are trying to see if you are someone they want to work with. They are trying to see if you will stay calm when a high-value customer's environment breaks at 2 p.m. on a Friday and nobody immediately knows why. You are calm. That's not performance. That's just who you are under pressure, and you know it now, because the last 8 months of breaking and fixing things alone in your apartment taught you that panic doesn't shorten the error message. They call you with an offer. You say thank you with a straight face. You hang up and sit quietly for a moment. Then you call whoever needs to know. Level 4, the cloud support engineer. You are 4 months in and technically still in onboarding. That is not a failure. That is the scale of the thing you joined. Your mornings start the same way every day. Check email, check Slack, check your manager, check your team, see if anything came in overnight that needs immediate attention. Then you open the case queue. Your job is to support customers troubleshooting their own AWS environments. These are not small customers. Some of them spend millions of dollars a year on cloud infrastructure. When something breaks in their environment, they open a case, and the case comes to you. You are on the DNS team, Developer and Mobile Services. Your services include Amazon Connect, Amplify, SQS, SNS. You get a lot of Connect cases. You get a lot of Amplify cases. Amplify lets developers build and deploy full applications without having to manage the infrastructure behind them. The backend, the database connections, the authentication, the hosting, all of it handled. You just write the code. It is, to put it plainly, a beast. A customer opens a case, their Lambda function is timing out intermittently, and they can't reproduce it consistently. You collect information. You ask for their function configuration, their timeout settings, your memory allocation, their invocation logs from CloudWatch. You read the logs, you read the documentation. You check internal knowledge bases, which are vast in a way that is difficult to describe from outside. Amazon has its own internal systems, its own internal search, its own internal knowledge infrastructure. Finding the right answer means knowing where to look, and knowing where to look takes months to learn. Sometimes the answer is in the documentation. Sometimes it's in a similar case from 8 months ago. Sometimes you need to escalate to a specialized internal team. You don't have access to the customer's account. That's not how it works. The shared responsibility model means their environment is theirs. You advise, you reproduce. You provide best next steps. You don't touch their infrastructure. The case turns out to be a cold start issue compounded by a downstream dependency with a misconfigured retry policy. You reproduce it in a test environment. You document the steps. You send the customer a detailed breakdown of the root cause, the recommended next steps, and a link to the AWS documentation that supports it. They respond 20 minutes later to say thank you and that they've been chasing this for a week. You close the case. You open the next one. On your third week, you misconfigure an IAM policy trying to restrict access to a specific S3 bucket for a customer's test environment. The logic looks right. The syntax looks right. You apply it. The customer loses access to everything, not just the bucket, everything. You spend 45 minutes trying to fix it yourself. You check the policy document 3 times. You check the AWS documentation. You check Stack Overflow. You find a thread that looks exactly like your problem and try the suggested fix. It doesn't help. You message the senior engineer. You explain what you did. You paste the policy JSON into the thread. He responds in 4 minutes. The resource ARN was wrong. He'd specified the bucket path with a trailing slash that broke the match. 1 character. He corrects it and sends it back. You apply it, access restored. You thank him. He says no problem and goes back to whatever he was doing. You sit with that for a moment. You're embarrassed. You tell yourself you will never mess up again. 2 weeks later, you accidentally delete an S3 bucket during a cleanup task.